Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ksenia and I share everything about life in Canada for immigrants like myself. And today I'm super excited to take you along with me on a very sweet Quebec tradition. If you've never been to Quebec or you just arrived, this is the experience that I highly recommend, especially because it doesn't exist anywhere else in Canada. Here in Quebec, we call it cabane sucre, and you can translate it to English as sugar shack. For many families in Quebec, including our own, it's just a really nice yearly tradition, and today I want to take you along to one of the sugar shacks with me and just share everything about that experience. Stick till the end of this video and I show you one of the most unusual experiences that I've seen here in Canada. But before we begin, let me just share some fun facts about maple syrup in Canada. I'm sure you're gonna find it fascinating. I'm sure you already know that Canada is like the capital of maple syrup, but did you know that 70% of maple syrup in the entire world is produced here in Quebec? And it's all because collecting maple sap, which is the main and the only ingredient in maple syrup, requires a very specific climate. Maple sap will only flow from the tree if the temperature during the daytime is above freezing and at nighttime it's below freezing. For my metric friends, that's obviously 0 degrees Celsius, and in Fahrenheit it's 32 degrees. And the climate in Quebec is perfect for this because we have very long and cold winters, which obviously for us is not cool. But then we have perfect freeze and thaw cycle around March and April, which unfortunately makes this harvesting season very short, only several weeks per year. So we need to maximize it as much as possible. You also need to know that not all maple trees are the same. Obviously, there are different varieties, and the best maple trees for maple syrup grow here in Quebec, and we actually have huge forests with millions of them. Now, here's how you make maple syrup. To make 1 liter of maple syrup, you actually need 40 liters of maple sap. All because maple sap mainly consists of water. It's about 98% water and only 2% sugar. To collect maple sap, you need to drill a little hole in the tree trunk and then insert a little tap in it. Sap will then drip into a bucket where you can collect it for production. What you see here is an old school way of collecting it. Nowadays, you can also see tubes that connect maple trees that will then bring maple sap to the central tank. So now it's time to evaporate this water and concentrate that sweetness. This happens in a device called an evaporator. It's like a big flat pan over heat, can be wood fire, oil, or gas, and it can take anywhere from 4 to 12 hours to evaporate enough water and get that required consistency of 66% sugar. So as the sap boils, it thickens, but it also forms something that's called sugar sand. So you have to filter it to remove it, and then you get this smooth and clean texture. Maple syrup actually have different varieties. They are graded by flavor and color from light to dark. They're all equally sweet, but darker colors tend to be deeper and have this more of a caramel-like flavor. In Quebec, maple production is a serious business. So serious that I actually have a federation that controls the quality of maple syrup, controls how much you can make, how you make it, how you sell it, and etc., etc. Believe it or not, but they actually have a secret maple syrup reserve with a lot of these huge maple syrup barrels in case we have a bad harvest year, and that will kind of help us control the prices. The organization is called PPAQ, which stands for Producteurs et Productrices Acéricoles du Québec. In 2004, they rolled out this production quota system where each producer would get an annual quota, which basically tells them how much they're allowed to make. And if they make extra, then they may not get paid for it unless the market needs it. So it's all about controlling supply and keeping those prices sweet, quite literally. PPAQ also ensures quality control. They grade clarity, color, and taste of maple syrup, and each year they inspect about 300,000 barrels. So what exactly is a sugar shack? Think about it as a maple fort. It's a cabin located near the forest which produces maple syrup during maple season between March and April. And traditionally, this is when families get together, boil maple sap into maple syrup, and then celebrate the end of winter with a huge meal. And now it's just a fun family tradition where pretty much everybody can visit a farm and enjoy traditional Quebec food, live music, and maple in everything. Honestly, every spring I look forward to this experience because it just gives an opportunity for the entire family to get together and stuff ourselves with food to the point where we get into a sugar coma. We don't have a particular place where we go to all the time. We usually like to try something new every year. So this year we visited Sucre de la Montagne, which is about 40 minutes away from Montreal. And in my opinion, it was the best sugar shack that we've been to. I think the food is very similar to other places, but I think it's just the vibe with live music and the cozy interior that makes it absolutely amazing. Normally you can just park and walk in, but this time there was a horse carriage bringing you to the main cabin. We took our 18-month daughter with us and she absolutely had a blast. The weather was beautiful, very sunny, and it actually went up to 16 degrees. At this time of the year, it's like a gamble. You never know if it's going to be sunny or if it's going to snow. This was a bit stupid of me to wear a winter jacket. I guess I just got used to wearing it all winter. So you arrive to the main cabin and you can just walk around to explore the surroundings. There was a cute and cozy fire pit, and even though it was warm, I just love the smell of firewood. You can also go to the store to buy some maple products to take home with you, or you can go and you can see by yourself how maple syrup is made. This is where I found that big evaporator that I showed you before. And if you visit a sugar shack, just don't forget to reserve a spot in advance. It's going to cost you about $50-something. For us, it was $54 per person. So now the feast begins. You're seated at a big table in a traditional rustic room. It's a bit tight with the waiters carrying food over your head, but it's just a part of the experience. Usually you get a set menu and alcohol is not included, but some sugar shacks allow you to bring your own booze, or in our sugar shack they were actually selling wine, beers, and some light refreshments. I'm a fan of artisanal local beer, so I got a can of this Blanche beer, and it went super well with the meal. So it starts with the traditional pea soup. It's very simple but delicious at the same time. Even my daughter loved it and ate a double portion. The next step was just a mix of different things, and you'll see that people take very small quantities of everything because they want to leave space for dessert later on. Usually you get ham, breakfast sausages, and traditional tourtière or a meat pie. This one wasn't that good though. You can see that the meat was a bit mushy and the crust wasn't well baked. Then you get bacon, baked beans with maple syrup in it, and omelette. Normally you would also get these crispy pork rinds, which are called oreilles de Christ, but for some reason this time they ran out of it. Oreilles de Christ is literally translated as ears of Christ, don't ask me why, and basically it's just a deep fried pork fat. And just believe me here, they taste way better than they look. And now listen to me very carefully. It is very, very important to remember when you go to a sugar shack to put a lot of maple syrup on everything. I know you may think that it's weird to put maple syrup on ham or omelette, but believe me, it's so good. If you go, you have to try it the Canadian way. And now for dessert. As I'm sure you guessed, it includes a lot of maple syrup. You start with a delicious, out-of-this-world maple pie. The filling is basically a smooth maple paste, very sweet, but it just melts in your mouth. On the side, you will get some pancakes with maple syrup, but they're definitely not as good as the pie. I don't recommend you taking too many because there is something else that's waiting for you when you get out of the cabin. But before we go out, let's just take a moment and enjoy the traditional live music and the cabin interior that literally brings you back in time. Now I know you've been waiting to find out about that original experience that exists only in Quebec, so meet tarte d'érable. In English it is known as a maple taffy, and it's basically just a very thick maple syrup on a stick. The right way to eat it is to put it on some clean snow, yes, directly on snow. It will thicken even more, so then you can roll it up with a stick. I'd say that it tastes like pure maple syrup that is turned into chewy and buttery warm caramel. The texture is so soft and sticky and it melts in your mouth. Honestly, it's the best Canadian way to get a sugar rush, and believe me, it's 100% worth the sticky fingers. Somehow I even managed to drop some on my jacket and shirt. Oh well, I guess it's just a part of the experience. So as I was saying, beyond food, Sugar Shack is just a big part of Quebec culture and identity. It's all about tradition, family, and community, and for immigrants like me, it's just a very beautiful way to connect with local culture. So if you're new to Canada, especially if you live in Quebec, I highly recommend that you visit one of the Sugar Shacks. Unfortunately, this year the season is coming to an end, but definitely plan a trip next spring. So this was our Sugar Shack trip this year. Let me know in the comments if you've already been or you'd like to visit a Sugar Shack yourself. And also let me know, what did you find the most original about this experience? So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel to find more about Canada and its culture and tradition. And see you next time.